Advice. The guy that's in the AHL that's ready to make a push to the NHL, but he might, he's just not getting that opportunity. He's just not getting those looks. He's just knocking on the door, but he can't knock it down. What's your advice to that guy?
Like the call-ups,
Yeah.
you mean?
Well, no, just the guy that's looking to like stick around and get that 2-year contract one way.
I mean, it's one of those things that I try to tell young guys, like it's coming in every day and being consistent. Like that's probably the hardest thing in pro hockey is there's a lot of good guys. There's a lot of guys that can show up for a game and score 3 goals. But I think what teams look for are guys that are there on a consistent basis, like not just offensively, but defensively as well. If you're going to be a bottom 6 guy in the NHL, you got to be really good in your own end, and you got to be really, really good at small plays. You got to be really good at, within the system. So I just try to find that the role, like try to find the role right within that team. And then it's like, okay, well, what do I need to be good at within this role? Like, what do I need to excel at? And then work on those things and excel at those things, be great at those things. Obviously I'm not a great offensive player like some of the guys on my team, but what I excel at is, I'm very reliable in my own end. Defensively, obviously I'll stick up for my teammates, doesn't matter who, and I'm very physical. I would say I'm one of the most physical guys in the NHL. So it's like excel at, what you do best. And, if there's some guys, they're pretty good at just about everything, but it's like you have to find, those few things or that role within the NHL, and you have to be really, really good at it, So it is tough. Sometimes guys kind of get pigeonholed in certain situations in the American League as, like their whole life they were a top 6 guy, and then all of a sudden in the American League, the team sees them as being a third line guy in the NHL, so they want them to learn how to kill penalties, and they want them to, be really good at that. They want them to be really physical and things like that. It's just what they want from you, like give them that. Work on those things. Show them that you're working on those things. That's super important. And you got to kind of leave your ego at the door sometimes too, because it's, they're in charge of, the coach, what the coach wants from you, always try to have a good idea of what it is that he wants and what he expects from you, and try to meet those expectations as much as possible.
Well said. That's really good advice. It's different. That wasn't like cliche advice. That was like behind the door advice. That was like an actual answer. That was good.
Well, it's because like I think sometimes, you see yourself as something in the NHL, but maybe the team, they need something else from you. And it's really important that you communicate with your coaches and you figure out, okay, what is it that they want from me? What is it that you want from me? And then once that's figured out, usually it's pretty easy. It's like, oh, okay. You go to the rink every day. It's like, oh, this is what they expect from me. And this is what's going to get me called up. Okay, well, I can do that, right? So I just think, communicate with your coaches. Ask them, what is it that you guys want from me? What is it that I need to do to get that call up? What is it that I need to do to be a full-time guy for you guys up, up in the NHL? And, I struggled with that a little bit too, having those conversations, but I realized like once I started having those conversations with my coaches, it just got so much easier. I knew what was expected of me. Right.
It's like, oh, here comes Liam. He wants to know what he needs to do now. It's like, it's just if as long as you're doing it, it's expected. It's okay. Yeah, here's Liam. Here's what he needs to do now.
You can't do it all the time. Like you can't be going to the coach's office all the time.
Well, I don't know.
Hey, what do you guys want from me today?
Today's Wednesday. What do you want me to
do? But like when you go into those meetings, ask them like, what is it what's your expectations? What do you guys need from me? Whether it's with the GM of the NHL team, whether it's with the head coach of the NHL team, the head coach of the AHL team, like what is it that you guys need from me? And listen to them, and what they tell you, do those things. Work on those things.
Mm-hmm.